To episode 23 of the CatchMark SportsNet podcast. I'm your host, Zach Zweigle, joined here by my co-host, Scott DeCamp, and our fearless leader, Brent Raeth.
You know what I notice?
What?
Is that I slouch a lot.
So do I.
I hate why I'm looking at it in the camera and I'm like, I got like a hump, man.
Well,
I'm getting old, and I'm like,
I think part of it is our figure.
I'm gonna stand up, sit up.
Did
you just call me fat?
No,
Yeah, there's
just
I think you just called me fat,
something in
Scott.
front that pulls gravity, pulls us forward.
Not. Yeah, I don't know.
Come on.
Anyways, I'm here.
Yeah, Brent's here. Today we're joined by special guest, enemy for me, Montague varsity baseball coach Kevin Buchberger.
I was wondering how this was going to play out
Right
today.
in.
I mean, like, this is some rivalry stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of rivalry there. It's funny. We were just talking before we started. First of all, welcome, Kevin. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking before we started. You know, we talk all the time about Montague and Whitehall and the rivalry that goes on between those two schools. And I had a unique experience growing up where I was able to go to both schools. And it's crazy to think about how different, but how similar they are. You know, it's really not that much different. And we joke about this rivalry. We all played in the same little league. We all play. It's all the same stuff, you know. Go ahead, Brent.
No. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think there's something different with the guys that graduate from Montague. Wouldn't you agree, Kevin?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to hear. Brent always likes to run his smack about baseball. Now we got 3 on 1 here.
Oh, my God, I know. I don't
gang
talk
up on Brent.
smack about baseball.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Oh, here we go. I knew this was going to come up. I have no problem with baseball. Absolutely no problem.
Little bit.
Zach is overly sensitive. If I compare baseball to any other sport, he gets pissy and he gets upset, and then it turns into something bad. I love baseball. I love the fact that the Wildcats are going to be amazing this year.
They are going to be good this year.
I thought they got the win against Mona Shores there, Kev, but like that's a Division I team. That's pretty good though.
Yeah, they're preseason ranked number 20, and we had our opportunities to win. We just couldn't pull it out.
Yeah.
Get the runs across the plate.
Some great kids on that team.
Also, starting out for your first game of the season is always a little bit of a coin flip. Kids haven't, especially in Michigan, because kids haven't been able to get outside a ton. I don't know how many times you guys got outside before you played, but I can't imagine it was very many.
0.
Yeah, it was about four or five times.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the way that it goes, kind of.
Did you guys get outside at all for your leadership?
Yes,
foray?
but we purposely don't do any baseball on that trip.
That's a good idea.
That's
really good
Just
idea.
leadership and character stuff.
The weather was crap. When Scott and I went to the state finals this weekend, and we woke up on Saturday. Owen wanted to drive. He's got his permit, and we stopped in Muskegon. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna go 45 all the way to Lansing, so we better switch it up. But I was like, man, it's friggin' snow. I want to get out golfing.
I know. I'm sick of this
Yeah.
too. I think we all are.
It's crazy.
His kids want to just a real quick thing on that segue.
No,
Speaking
Scott.
of segues,
Scott, this was any conversations in the car are off limits, buddy.
it
Like,
wasn't the car. It was so he had his 3 sons. Brent's 3 sons, and it was a blast. It was fun seeing Brent in that environment as the father, and getting annoyed at certain times and putting his arm around him at other times. And Noah couldn't stop asking about the damn scooters. Can we take scooters across campus?
I fully expected when you guys. So our usual go-to cafeteria was closed in East Lansing. Like Scott and I still don't understand. Like 2:00 on a Saturday at a college campus with 50,000 people at it. Why is the giant cafeteria not open? But it's not open Saturday and Sunday. So we walked. It's like 2 degrees. We walked all the way across campus behind the stadium. We get there. The whole thing's closed. The only place we have to go is north, and it's going to be another 1.5 miles. So we grabbed a lift. And it was pretty quick, actually. It took like 5 minutes. They came, picked us up. Then we got to Peanut Barrel, and we couldn't get a car. Like, there were like no lifts in all of East Lansing. And so we're like 2.5 miles. It's 28 degrees, and we're like, nobody was dressed for it. So I somehow managed to get I paid extra for it.
Oh
Like,
man, I had a lift coming, and all of a sudden it's
snaked him.
gone. And he snaked me.
So
Jumped the line.
Scott and Noah and it was Connor, right?
So it was me, Connor,
Scott, Noah, and Connor were waiting, and they were gonna. I fully expect them to get another lift, but Scott, all of a sudden, I get a text from one of the kids, and they're like, "Yeah, we're walking," and I'm like, I fully expect them to pull up on scooters because Noah would not let it go. He's like, "Those scooters are there, we could drive them." And I'm like, the last thing we need is you on a scooter without a helmet and your 9 concussions.
Yeah.
It was nuts, but
Dangerous.
good time, though. Good
fun.
time at the finals.
Anyway, the weather's got to go. That's where this
Yeah, I
stems
know.
from.
I know.
Has to go. Kevin, talk a little bit about growing up in Montague. What year you graduated, and then your baseball journey and experience throughout your career.
Right. Okay.
1970. No, I'm just sorry.
Come on, bro.
Well, I was born in 1972 in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I moved to Montague my freshman year in 1986, and growing up in Wisconsin, we had little leagues and like that, same thing as over here. But my dad played semi-pro baseball in a little town called Clintonville, so that's kind of where I got my start. My passion for baseball was my dad was a big athlete and a baseball player, so. My older brother was 2 years ahead of me, so I played Little League with him, but never was able to play high school baseball with him. He didn't make the team or wasn't on the team and whatnot, but I did play for Charlie Michelson, who's a Hall of Fame coach at Montague, and from Montague, graduated in 1990. I went to Central Michigan my first year out of high school. Started on the varsity club in fall ball, but they soon put me right to the JV because I was not good enough. After that first year, I went to Muskegon Community College, years 92, 93. Played for Jim Moose there. I played with Scott for a season.
I was going to say, I got to take it back real quick because
Oh my God.
Wait. How many dingers between the two of you?
I was a
Gotta
pitcher.
warm the bench.
I was a soft throwing lefty. I couldn't hit worth a lick. But anyway,
He was a sneaky lefty.
Sneaky lefty.
Kevin had a phenomenal mullet, if I remember correctly, at Montague.
That's awesome.
Well, we don't want to talk about that.
Kevin, where'd it go, buddy?
It's gone.
But, so back in that era, and even now, I mean, like in Ravenna or Oak Ridge, you got the thin, cheesy mustache. I didn't even have that. I couldn't even grow that then. I didn't have anything.
Some of them in Montague are sporting that.
I know somebody
might be
close
related
to you
to me sporting
that has one of those
ridiculous
mustaches.
mustache.
Back then, that was an Oak Ridge thing. I don't think Ravenna Montague adopted that.
No, the Oak Ridge trash stash. Can I say that on this
I don't think
podcast?
so.
Scott, dude, the censors are going to get us, buddy. Oh my gosh, we're going to get hate mail.
Let's get back to Kevin's baseball story, please. So you're at MCC with Scott.
Yep. And, after my second year there, I was all-state baseball player and ended up going to Aquinas College, played for Coach Terry Beauchamp, who was one of the winningest coaches in Michigan history for collegiately. And a great year there in 94. We had 50 wins. I played with Kurt Heisinger there. He was a phenomenal hitter, phenomenal player. And, from there, right after that season, I got engaged to my wife now and got married in 94. And, since then, just been coaching and raising kids and raising a family.
Yeah. You started coaching. When did you start coaching your kids? I remember specifically you coaching, I think it was one of Ian's teams in Little League. Obviously, Jacob and Ian are a little bit younger than I am. But when did you start coaching your kids?
Well, I coached Jacob in T-ball.
Yeah.
But then after that, he went to the majors, and you were on the team too. You and Ian and Jacob all played together.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that was a fun year. I think Greg Russell was the head coach that year, and then Rick Blancham and I helped him out. But that was a fun season. But, I coached starting T-ball with Jacob in, what was that, 2002 probably?
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably right.
Had 4 boys go through, so I was coaching T-ball, I thought, for life. But time flies, and now my youngest is already a senior in high school. So, but yeah, since 2002, I was coaching baseball.
Man, that's just nuts. Really
Finally, a guy sitting in a seat that can understand my pain with a bunch of boys at home,
true.
teenage boys at the same time. But hey, at Aquinas, there was a few Montague guys that played at Aquinas. Did you play with any of them at the same time?
Rob Smith was there. He graduated with me from Montague, and he played at Aquinas. Well, he started at Mesquite Community also.
Yep.
I think he left before Scott got there, but he went there and played. So, yeah, Rob, we were roommates, actually. Ed Michelson, which was Charlie's son, he was a coach there.
Because I think Jeff Johnson played there, I believe, didn't he?
Yeah, he was
well quite a bit
after
younger
us.
you, but no, like a lot of Montague guys at Aquinas. It's a good connection there.
But speaking of Rob Smith, he just resigned as East Lansing girls coach.
I did not hear that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. He's been there forever.
He's been there a long time, couple state championships, and had a great career there. But, yeah, he's decided to raise his son, Tate.
Oh, really?
Yep, so.
How old's his son? I haven't seen Rob in years.
Boy, I want to say 7th grade, 8th grade.
Okay. Coaching takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Living in Montague,
The good life.
and then going to college, getting married. How did you guys end up to come back to Montague? Was it always like, did you always know that that's where you were going to be, or is that just kind of the way that it fell? And where's Chris from? I don't even know where she's from.
She was born and raised in Montague.
Okay.
So she's a lifer here. But, no, after we got married, we bought a house in Norton Shores, and that was 95. And then her parents decided to move up to Ludington to get closer to their work. So we ended up buying their house to come back home to Montague. And just a small town feel. It's we thought we wanted to be city lifers, but the small town is where it's at. We just loved it up here, the White Lake area.
For sure. Yeah, it really is a great area. You guys just touched on the conversation of having boys in your house. And, I can't think of two guys that have more boys in their house than both of you guys.
Kevin's got me beat. I don't know how I can't even imagine one more.
Yeah.
Like, I just,
You're right.
it's crazy.
Talk a little bit about what that's like and kind of the experience that they've had growing up, and I know that they get along. They get along really well. Both, I guess you guys are a little bit closer. They will though.
We'll
but,
see.
I mean, they have a brother in Jacob that what an awesome inspiration. To grow up behind, and just talk about their relationship a little bit and what it's like to be a dad of 4 boys.
Yeah, our third son, Elijah, he was the most competitive one, and he always tried to stay with Jacob and Zachary, and he just couldn't hang with them, and he just got so frustrated, but it drove him, and just his competitive nature. But overall, they are close. They talk all the time still. Just being athletes and people, they just loved each other. And I mean, they slept in the same bed for 3 or 4 years when they were super, super young.
Yeah.
But when they got old enough, obviously they kind of split up into their own rooms. But they were just a close knit group of brothers.
So no fights, anything?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing broken in the house, Kevin?
Not that they'd tell me.
Yeah.
Not that I found. A lot of it happened outside. I mean, they always played football in the yard, and then they played wiffle ball in the yard, and, somebody calls them out, and he wasn't out. So,
They get into it a little bit.
Tempers start going, and they start competing. And
Yeah.
No, I remember growing up and seeing them all running around, and they all loved sports, and they all loved. It seemed like they loved each other, and even nowadays, I see, you guys post Facebook photos or whatever, and they're always back home together. And not often, but when they are, Christmas time or whatever, and you just don't see that. Even with families that are, fairly close, you don't see everybody coming back and getting together all the time. So I just thought that was pretty cool. So I wanted to ask you about it. Talk a little bit about your professional career and how hard that is with having Jacob playing all over the country and just having boys. I mean, your other sons are elsewhere too. How do you find time to coach baseball here and then to spend time with all your kids and work at the same time?
Yeah, that's tough. I work at GE Aviation now, which is in Muskegon and Norton Shores. Prior to that, I worked at Alcoa for 21 years, so they always made it easy for me to get out of work on time to get to the coaching responsibilities, and I really appreciated them for that. And it was close, so I was able to leave there and get to all the kids' sporting events and hang out with them. But with GE Aviation, they're allowing me as well going to work early, get out on time to get to practice, get to games. But yeah, it is tough when they were all 4 of them playing from high school all the way down to Little League. You had to kind of divide and conquer between me and the wife and grandparents and friends. And, we have a great support system there, friends-wise and family-wise, that we're able to get to everything. But, it's just, a blessing for me to be able to coach my sons all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure every time you have a break from work, every vacation, you're probably trying to go see Jacob, at least when he's away from home. Does the family all go, or do you guys take turns? And we're going to get into Jacob in just a second in his path, but
yeah, I guess when he was at Davenport playing baseball, we kind of scheduled our vacations around his schedule, to try to figure out his spring break. And obviously, some years we had to take 2 spring breaks, one for the college, one for the high school. And
that's
I was just going to say,
it was
rough. I feel bad for you, Kevin.
Yeah. The bank account got
I know. I hear you.
Again, I say,
yeah. But no, it was a great time when he was at Davenport, where we were able to do those 2 spring breaks in a year. But I feel like we kept it pretty even. They all played baseball, so the springtime was always theirs. And coaching them while Jacob was playing was difficult for me and the wife. We want to be there, but we also need to be back here too, supporting our other sons. So, Zachary had a nice high school career. Elijah was a good baseball player. Now Aiden, who's a senior, committed to Concordia College or Concordia University. So, we get another 4 years of maybe 2 spring breaks.
yeah, there you go. There's nothing wrong with
Has
that.
Aiden grown? I saw him the other day, I think at Wesco. He got out of the car, and I'm like, I think he's taller than he was. Is he still growing?
He's still growing, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, see, with Jacob, too, he didn't grow till he got to college.
Yeah.
I think he graduated at 5'11", now he's 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know. I saw him the other day, and I'm like, man, that's Aiden. He looks bigger than he was. Like, and I don't see him a lot anymore. Like, just once around downtown and stuff. But it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. This he didn't play football. He played fall baseball instead. He didn't play basketball. He went to Grand Rapids to train and work out on his baseball skills, and so he spent a lot of time getting bigger, getting stronger. Yeah.
And now he's running away with it.
So I got to ask a question. Your best Charlie Michelson story?
Oh my goodness. Man, that was so long ago.
Oh, don't try to punt. I know you got one.
Well, he had this old car. I think it was a Buick, and he liked to drag the baseball field with the Buick.
Yes, I heard.
It was pretty wet one day when he tried to go out there and do it, and he put in a couple of ruts that we had to fix. We couldn't play that day, but we had to fix those ruts. He was something else. But in the summer, he got a hold of everybody. I don't know how he got a hold of everybody.
Yeah,
back in the day,
no kidding.
But it's, hey, come up to my house. We're gonna hit. So
I just remember going out and going out to run track or whatever I was doing in the spring and watching everybody out there hitting pebbles with their sticks and I had Charlie. I had him as a basketball coach, and I actually loved him.
Right.
I mean, I loved him as a coach, like his attention to detail. But it's always there's some good stories. Jeff Burrell had him too, who's a partner in CatchMark.
Man, back in that time, there were some great battles with Whitehall, Montague, and Ravenna between those 3.
Baseball.
Obviously, Oak Ridge was pretty decent then too because they had Sparrow and I think Lynn was the other pitcher maybe, but. They had, there were some battles, and there was guys that would go from Montague to Whitehall. Like a Montague guy, all of a sudden he's playing for Whitehall, or vice versa, it seemed like. You'd have those guys. Wasn't Conkle one of them or not?
Jeff Conkle was one, yeah. He got in a little bit of trouble at Montague, so he transferred to Whitehall. I don't think he should have gotten in trouble, but it just so happened that somebody saw him do something that they thought they saw and turned him in, and so then he went to Whitehall. Yeah, he was a great baseball player. That's the only one I can think of back in my time.
Yeah.
See, I'm already getting old. I can't remember. I can't keep my stuff straight.
Scott, come on now.
He's an encyclopedia.
He's an encyclopedia. You should have seen him at the state finals this weekend.
I
It was
believe it.
first. We couldn't walk 3 steps without somebody going Scott and striking up a conversation.
So annoying.
And then
Can't go anywhere.
he's pulling stuff watch this. What was number 21's name from Williamson?
Mason, what's his last name? Docks.
And how did you know Mason Docks?
This is his. I don't know him, but I know the name because his older brother played either for Williamston or Okemos. He was a stud.
Case arrested.
Was that Chris Harrison, Docs?
I believe so. How do you know that name? Did you
We
officiate
got 2
any
of
of them?
them in here today.
Well, no, I did not. I don't know, a few
I
years
believe
ago.
that's the name, though, because I think he was at Okemos for a little bit.
Okemos, yeah. 10 years ago or so, I went.
You guys just want to sit this one out?
Yeah, I'm just listening. I'm in a maze. I told you.
I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to sit here and pretend.
Actually, for work, I went to Lansing for a dust collection, a ventilation conference. And while I was there, I looked up Rob Smith to go watch his team play.
Wow.
And they actually played Okemos that day. And that Chris Harrison Docks was on the boys' team. They played girls, boys. So I watched
That's cool.
Rob's team play, and then I watched that boys' team. And I think he went D1 out of high school.
I think he did, too.
That's kind of cool.
Scott doesn't think. He knows. Yeah. He's messing around now.
But I think their dad, or his dad, Chris Harrison Docks, I think his dad played at Kentucky, won national championship.
Wow.
Really?
If I
So
remember
he's
right.
even got me. I don't even know that.
He beat you, Scott. He won up to you.
He's got me on
Well,
that
that's
one.
only because I was there and saw him play.
Yeah.
He was a special player.
No, he was, Mason Docks was really
If
good.
they are related, that kid was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like he was good.
Again, I know this is a baseball discussion.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Grandpa's Catholic people that no one's touching and no one's touching. But Williamson, I was talking to Tim Stout when I got in the office this morning. He's like, Williamson was number 1 all year.
Yeah, and they're undefeated.
Grandpa's
too.
Catholic was number 2, but everyone around here thinks Grandpa's Catholic. No one's touching them, but you forget about Williamson, the public school in the Lansing area, and they were legit because they had the Mason Docks who's going
They
to
were good. Some
UMBC,
6'10" kid too. Yeah,
and then you've got the 6'10" kid who can handle and shoot, and he's going to Western.
yeah, that was pretty good. So, yeah. So no, it was just our test for the day. It was
Yeah,
it was
we always
insane
have
trying
to.
to walk around with him.
We got to run it through it.
Is that why you went and set up on the upper deck?
No, you know why I set up on the upper deck because I got a weird kid. That's why.
That's funny.
but-
Yeah, that's just the way it goes with Scott.
So,
Anywho.
I have a quick question. Like for baseball, are the divisions the same as basketball, where it's 4, or do they split you guys up more?
No, there's 4 divisions, but there's less schools. A lot of the smaller schools can't carry 9
players. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
So it doesn't get any easier essentially because the small schools are the ones that dip, not the
Right,
big schools. What do you think about extra divisions in baseball?
I think they should add one more.
Yeah.
There's such a big
There's just a gap, right?
gap.
There is
Yeah.
a gap for sure. I mean, I agree with that. I also think that the parochial school conversation fits right in along with pretty much every other sport. We see the same. We see the Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and we see that it's the same schools all the time that just dominate the area. And some divisions are worse than others, but that's just the way the way it goes. It's the same conversation though.
Yeah, there's a big push for that. And people are talking about allowing them to compete in the same tournaments, but adding like a 1.5
the
multiplier or something like that onto it. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that in baseball, Kevin?
I think they're all 16 to 18-year-olds on varsity, and
Yeah.
it's how well do you coach your kids and how do they develop?
Yeah.
It doesn't bug you as much.
No, I'd rather play them and beat them.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I feel you. Interesting.
And you guys
I
are
like
Division
that
3
trend.
in baseball, correct? I mean, and so in basketball,
Yeah, Division 2.
Montague goes Division 2, in which they're a lot closer to 3 than they are 1.
Yeah.
If you look at basketball,
Yeah.
but it's just the way because of the number of teams,
Yeah.
the way it falls in different sports. I think.
Yeah. Interesting. That's the first person we've talked to that had the opinion
Yeah, from public
like,
school.
hey, leave it. Like there's no issue with parochial schools.
I'm
being
with them.
involved.
I'm with them along the standpoint of, yeah, it's tough to beat them, but man, if you can beat them, it makes it that much.
No,
sweeter.
I absolutely agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. There's something to be said about that. You beat every team. It is what it is.
Yeah, Muskegon Catholic, I mean, they won a state title back in 15.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always had a good program, but, we keep them on the schedule because they're good. And, I think we beat them maybe 2 times out of the 10 years I've been coaching there.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen often.
Right. No. Yeah, that's true. That's the way it goes. I just think that it's different per sport too. It is. We talk about, in football or in some of these where it's every team that's winning state championships for the most part is, parochial schools. They just repeat or they'll win 10 in a row or, you know what I mean? Something like that. That's crazy. Montague's had their success though. So they got something to stand on there. Talk about a little bit about Montague baseball in general. Your career there, some of the players that you've coached, maybe the highs and the lows of your time in the program.
Oh, boy. Well, I started coaching varsity in 2013. I coached 5 years on varsity, so 2009, I believe, was my first year there. So that was right during that state.
Who's the
title
head
runs.
coach when you were?
Rick Blankstrom was the head coach.
Rick was, okay.
Yep. And, they had some great athletes coming through at the time, but they were so strong in football at the time too. So they wanted to run track and they wanted to lift and be ready for the football season. So it's hard getting those athletes out to the baseball field. But Matt DeYoung played a year at JV and hit over 400, and Cater played through his sophomore year. Pitcher and infielder, he was a good player too, and they went the football route. So kind of lost those kids.
How do you feel about that, Kevin? I mean, like, all the sports are kind of demanding kids' time year round now. I mean, would you rather see kids specialize, or would you rather see them play multi-sports?
Well, that's a tough question.
That's why I ask it.
Right. It depends on the athlete.
Okay.
Like my oldest boy was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and my youngest just ended up being a 1-sport athlete. And he could have played the other 2, but he wanted to specialize and reach his goal of playing college baseball. So that was one of the decisions he had to make.
Yeah.
And, it worked out for him. But at the same time, I'd rather see multi-sport athletes playing 2-3 sports at a school our size. It's, it's hard to compete at that level with just a single athlete, a single sport athlete. I mean, they're competing year round, and for baseball, I think 3 of us can agree. I don't know about you, Brent, but you put a baseball player in any other sport, he'll compete and maybe win. You take another sport athlete, put him in baseball, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to hit a ball, catch it.
Boy, we've had some really good conversations around that. Actually, that's good.
But your son Jacob especially was a poster boy for multi-sporting, and
for sure
that's one of the things when we creating these topics. One of the things I thought of right away was how much do you think that helped him when he went on to Davenport and then in the minor league route that he's in now, just seeing those different competitive environments? Oh,
it's a game changer for him. I mean, there's stats out there that how many of the Super Bowl winnings, who won this year?
Rams.
Rams. How many of those players were multi-sport athletes in high school? And, it was like 80% of them were multi-sporters.
Yep.
So, it says something to compete something different. And
you were a multi-sport guy too, right?
I was.
You played basketball. You played baseball.
Yep, I played 3 sports.
Yeah.
Not at the level that Jacob played or a lot of the guys at, but I mean, I played them.
Yeah.
But when you compete year round and you're using multiple muscle groups for each sport, that improves your dynamic and just makes you ready for the next level to compete with the other athletes. For Jacob, I mean, he went to Davenport on a football scholarship, and the day he signed, he had a baseball workout, and the coach offered him as well. So he wasn't getting any looks for baseball, and now
that's
he's
so
playing.
funny. That's crazy how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, and now he's playing professional baseball. So it's
weird how it works.
And that's the thing with Jacob too. When I remember him, especially on the football field, he was just a competitor. I mean, there's no other way to put it, because he was good on both sides of the ball. I mean, he could do everything, and it's just that and furthermore, the way he's hit the weights, because that's kind of related to this as well. I mean, he's a big guy now, but he's put so much work in. But it's funny when you hear a lot of kids say, "Well, I can't lift, it's game day." It's like that's a misnomer.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, and he lifts 7 days a week, game or no game. And that's one thing he's always brought back when he talks to younger guys when he comes to town is, hit the weight room. When you're old enough to start lifting, get stronger, because that's what gets you to that next level as far as an athlete.
One of the things I mean, and this is part of your family that I love about Jacob is such an open kid to come back and help out too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the demands on his time would crazy, right? Like, and then we asked him last year to do something. I mean, like he's just there to help, and I think that's amazing. Give him back. You guys have done a great job there with all your boys, to be honest with you. So
yeah, for sure.
Is there going to be a chance to, like, I mean, do you know what things are looking like in terms of his outlook for this spring, and do you know when, and even going into the summer, when you might be able to see him or wear it all. But a lot of things have to be decided, I'm sure, right, in spring training.
Right. Right now is in spring training. This is their last week. I think they break camp this coming Saturday. He was playing in the AA group down there. Of course, that's when the big leaguers went up or signed their deal. They were able to go to spring training. So a lot of the guys left minor league camp, went to the big league camp. As those guys are coming back down, now a lot of the guys are getting shuffled around to different or different levels, I guess you could say. But he was playing the AA for a while. Now he's down to the high A again with Peoria. But he wasn't told for certain yet where he's going, but he will be going either to Peoria or Springfield, we assume.
So not real far away in comparison.
No. Well, he's in the Cardinals organization, so all their teams are within 12 hours of us here.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
It is very nice. We're lucky for that to happen.
So what's the? I mean, for somebody, I kind of know, but for somebody who doesn't, I mean, what's that path look like, Kev? Like is he? How long does he stay in the minors? How does what like? Is that a 6-year thing? Is that a 7-year thing? Is it a 2-year? Like, what does that look like?
Obviously, it's different for every
Sure.
baseball player. But like Nate McLeod, he got signed right out of high school, and I think it took him 5 years to get to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
For somebody out of college, it could take them 2-3 years. If you're just a freak of a baseball player, they want you to hit every level at least once.
Okay.
So they'll start at the bottom, but they'll fast track them if they're good enough.
If they're good enough, yeah.
Jacob Drewmate last year, Alec Burleson was with the Peoria group initially last year. He started there in high A Peoria, and a month later he was at AA, and a month later he was at AAA.
Right.
So, some guys, if you're good enough and you produce, they're going to move you up and try to get you there.
Well, what's the step like? So, like, we talk a lot about jumping from high school to college to like the levels. Like, what's the difference between a single A player and a AAA player, right? Like, I know it's different for every type of position, but like in Jacob's situation, like, is it? Are they looking for him to hit 300 at a certain level, and then he meets a gate? Are they looking at more intangibles? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, in baseball nowadays, it's all about the metrics, the exit velocity, the launch angles.
Those darn nerds.
Yep. But, I don't think they take a lot of stock in batting average. It's how many times you hit the ball hard,
Okay.
how far it goes, things like that, because obviously the farther it goes, the more bases you get. But the difference between the two, I think it's just experience and consistency.
Okay.
How cool was it for him to be part of Peoria and come back and play at the Whitecaps and just have all the Montague fans showing up and Muskegon area fans showing up during that series when he came back? That was pretty cool, I thought.
It was pretty sweet, yeah, because, he took his senior class trip to a Whitecaps game when he was a high school senior. So then to come back, I don't know, was it 5 years later to play in front of those fans? It's pretty special for him. But, I thought he'd be a nervous wreck being able to play in front of everybody. And I think he was the most relaxed that week than he was the entire time at Peoria. So
That's crazy. That's interesting.
it is.
And when he was home, he was, granting these media requests such as ours, such as
he
Fox
was
17.
packed. Yeah.
He always had something going on, and I thought he played well in that series. And then and you guys, by the way, your team this year is going to be playing in that ballpark, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, we are May 25th against Raeth Buffer, so it's going to be a fun night of baseball.
How's Reese Buffer looking this year?
They should
all right?
be real good. Yeah, they got, I think, 7 seniors that have played together since they were in Little League, and they've got a couple of younger guys that throw well and are also good role players that just fit that team. So I expect them to maybe win a district and another regional like they did last year.
Nice.
Is Butch up and walking around now?
He is. Yeah, he's looking good.
Yeah.
For Butch, anyway.
Yeah.
As good as Butch can look.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's a cool experience. I actually got to. I got to play there in high school, and definitely one of my best memories. So it's super cool. They get to do that.
Right.
And back to the Jacob conversation. Kind of crazy how like you get to that point where your nerves you don't get nerves about people watching you, but you find comfort in having, some of the people that watching you. It's funny how that works. You play in front of people every day. I'm sure, something that happens. I would never know, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. I would think playing in front of my friends and family would be more nerve-wracking against in front of strangers. But for him, it's being home and being comfortable, and
so cool.
Yeah,
so cool.
So about Aiden, I mean, Brent talked about how much he seemed to be growing and everything, and him making his college choice and signing with them and everything. I mean, what kind of season are you looking for from him? Not to put too much pressure on him, but between him and his teammates, what's the outlook for him and for you guys?
Boy, it's every year you start the season wanting to win a state title. I think that's everybody's goal. For us, it's just having fun and being with these group of guys every day and getting better every day and just having a lot of fun. We should be pretty good. We've got a good, solid senior group. All 5 of them starting. We had 3 juniors that started as sophomores, so we got a lot of experience. As far as a season whole, we should compete every game. We play teams like we start with Shores. We play Forest Hills Eastern. We play Rockford, Grand Rapids Christian, who are all preseason ranked.
You got a good schedule.
Yeah.
So we're going to be battle tested by the time the state tournament comes. North Muskegon is ranked right now, so they're in our district. Oak Ridge, I think, is a top 10 team in Division II right now. So we got a good schedule, and we'll compete every game, and hopefully when the state tournament comes, we'll play in our best baseball.
Now, you guys, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago when you were in the quarterfinals?
2018.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
Quarterfinals. Yep.
So 4 years ago.
Time
But
flies,
anyhow,
doesn't it?
But I mean, it's a team can catch fire like that. You guys, did you have a pretty good season? I'm trying to recall that team, or was it just a thing that you kind of just meshed at the right time?
Well, yeah, kind of a little bit of both. We only had one senior that year. Zachary, my son, was the only senior. So we were relatively young. We had 3 sophomores that were playing for us, who all played travel baseball and played together since they were really young. That junior group was Luke Marsh and Nick Stever, Sebastian Archer, who's our JV baseball coach this year.
No kidding.
Seabass is back.
Seabass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, we had a great group of athletes. I mean, they went to the state semis that year, maybe, in football. So we had great athletes. And, going into the baseball season, I thought we were just too young to put anything together. But I don't know. I think we ended up 3rd in the conference, ended up winning our district pretty handily. I think we dimed both teams that year. Went to regionals. We beat North Point Christian in the regional finals, who I think they were a top 5 team at the time when we beat them. So I didn't know if we had enough there, but with Nick and Luke throwing over 80 miles an hour, those 2 guys put together an awesome day. Remington Schneider, who was a sophomore, I think he went 4 for 4 on the day with like 4 or 5 RBIs. He had a great day that day. But we just kind of came together at the right time. Back then, they had the state tournament set up a little differently, so we played the regional semi and finals on Saturday and then turned around on Wednesday and played the quarterfinals. So our 1 and 2 pitchers were used up and couldn't use them for the quarterfinal game.
And you faced a good Schoolcraft team, right? Because they had Benny Clark's son playing for, I think, Ricky.
Here he goes.
And then they had these brothers. I can't think of their names, but they were really good. They play at maybe Grand Valley or maybe one at Davenport now. I'm not
Anspaugh brothers?
I think it's Anspaugh.
Yeah, they're both at Davenport right now.
Are they okay?
And so is Ricky Clark.
He's there now too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very very good. They had a really good team that year.
I'm not sure they were on that team that year.
Were they not?
I think they graduated the year before.
Okay. Come on,
believe.
just go along with it. Make me.
But
you got to make it sound like I know what I'm talking about. At
What?
least.
Scott got one wrong. I can't even believe it.
it's
he
funny
was
you say that
close.
because Nolan and Caleb Anspaugh, they went to Grand Valley first, and then they left there
Oh,
to go
okay.
to their brother's school at Ivy Tech, and then they went
But
back
I think
to Davenport.
Ricky was still on the team if I remember correctly. Maybe wasn't he?
I thought he was the same year as them.
God dang it! Come on. I'm bowing out of this discussion now.
Let's
I
see.
love it.
I'm trying to remember because I did see Schoolcraft play in the semifinals. They might even got to the finals because they had this Alex Tholey or whatever
Yep.
who was their quarterback. He was a good quarterback. He ended up going D2 maybe or 1AA, whatever.
He was the one that pitched against us in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
But
he was young though then, so but
yeah, he was like a sophomore.
Yeah, but
that year also they got rained out on their regional day, so they ended up finishing game 1. The pitcher was used up for the restart, and so they used their number 2 pitcher against to finish that game. They won, and then they won the next game in 3 innings. They dimed the other team. So they had their number 1 pitcher able to come back and throw against us on that Wednesday.
But that was at Davenport, right? Where you played?
We played at Davenport,
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was kind of special because that's when Jacob was still there. And so we were able to go there and play where Jacob played, and Zachary was there.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
cool.
It's neat.
It's really cool. This year, you mentioned how you have 5 seniors, including your youngest, Aiden. Talk about the leaders on that team and what the forecast is for those guys. I mean, you guys should have people are expecting around the area for you guys to have a really good team. They were great in the last couple of years. You know, how special is it to have a good squad like that and packed full of leaders, full of seniors?
Yeah, those 5 seniors actually played travel ball together for a couple of years with Shoreline Sticks. And Hayden McDonald's dad, Matt, was the coach of that team. So he had Hayden McDonald and Tate Stein, Colton Blankstrom, Aiden, and then Tug Nichols. And, they've played, I think, travel ball every year since then, too. But, a lot of baseball experience with those guys playing the high school season and then travel ball season. So their baseball IQ is pretty high, and it helps the coaches out because they're able to get the other guys in the right positions and know what plays to run and where the ball should go, and just the mental aspect of baseball is so deep that, for a common guy like Brent, you don't really know. But,
Thanks, Kev.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I've earned that. I've earned it.
But, it's just having that IQ and knowing what to do and where to go and knowing the situation and all those things. And when they can just take care of it themselves on the field, it's so much easier for the coaches to think about other things with, subs and hit and runs and steals and all that type of stuff.
The important stuff.
I think those guys and your team in general got about another half a season worth of experience in that game you played against North Muskegon at Marsh Field.
No kidding.
That game, how crazy was that game? Can you kind of refresh our memories on what happened in that game and how crazy that day was?
Oh, man. I remember it was a 14-inning game. We played at Marsh Field. We kind of wanted to highlight that game or that series, that doubleheader for like the West Michigan Conference Championship. So we moved to Marsh Field, and good crowd there. I think it was a packed house, 400, 500 people were there, it seemed like to me. But it was a 14-inning game, and, they used their number 1, Charlie Branch. I don't know. I can't classify our pitchers as number 1, number 2. Last year we had 3, 4 solid. Same thing this year, we'll have 4 solid pitchers. But we used Cade Johnson to start, and, 6th inning, Charlie and Cade both got relieved by the next guy, which their number 2 was Troy McManus, a little crafty lefty like Scott used to be. Mm-hmm. And
he's skinny like
You
I
are
used
crafty,
to be.
Scott.
Yeah.
He's
He's skinny.
So is Troy. I love Troy, by the way. I got to
You
make
have a man
McManus
crush
plug.
on McManus.
Love that kid.
Yeah. Aiden played with him in summer ball too with the Rockets team out of Reese Puffer. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Troy's been playing with Jeff Moss and his Sticks team. So they used Troy McManus. We brought in Colton Blankstrom, and we had a lot of opportunities against Troy where, North Michigan didn't get many opportunities against Colton, and we just could not push a run. We tried to steal home. Aiden was batting, and Tug Nichols was on third base, and there was 2 strikes, and it's like, it's about do or die now. So I told Tug, time him up and then get going. And he reached the plate the same time the ball reached the plate, and Aiden did a check swing. He didn't know Tug was coming home, so he didn't really know what was going on. But the ball was coming in. He kind of took a half swing because he knew Tug was coming in, and the umpire called it a full swing for a strike, and they struck him out. And if I thought about it, I should have went out there and asked, the run scored before the ball got there, and we might have been able to get that game over with earlier. But either way, that didn't happen. But I don't know, 2 innings later, we were able to get that winning run on the board.
Yeah.
You shared the conference title with those guys, right?
Then we ended up, I was mentally spent after that first game, and I didn't want to play game 2. And, you could tell the kids already played 2 games. They didn't want to play that one. But, we owe it to the league and the conference to play that second game and get our schedule in. So we ended up playing, and they took it to us that second game and beat us pretty good. But, yeah, we ended up tying for conference last year.
No, those were both good teams, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, North Muskegon had a couple good pitchers, and you guys were obviously. The crazy part is that's what I picture when I think about your team this year, and all those kids are back, right? Like it's like, is there 8 returners?
We have 8 returners.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's just nuts. It's like unheard of for the most part. So I'm so looking forward to watching all those kids play.
Yeah, and then Tate Stein is playing this year. Who obviously we lost the year of COVID, and then he was hurt with his knee injury last year, so he's had 2 years off. But the other night against Mona Shores, he had a big RBI single in that game late in the game. So I think he's gonna get right back to where he used to be before he.
Good athlete.
Does he always smile on the baseball field too?
That kid's always happy.
Yeah.
That kid's always got a smile. And I tell you what, if he was smiling at me when I'm pitching, he might get some chin music.
Yeah. That's to Tate's credit, he's always in a good mood.
He is too. He's always happy.
I'm not.
Oh, I believe you would.
I'm not Billy Bad A.
I believe you would.
I was never a tough guy, so don't. I'm just trying to pretend I am, but I never was. So I wouldn't throw at anyone. I didn't have enough guts to do that.
Yeah.
But
Tate is always happy.
Tate's he's a good guy though.
Oh yeah,
we like Tate.
Yep.
He did a great job announcing for us, calling basketball games.
He did a good job. Yeah.
He and Connor both did a great job.
It's good to see spring sports just after that lost COVID season too.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked. All the way across the board. Just to see him back and how did that impact you guys? Like both you guys, the players, because they still played for the most part, travel, like summer ball, right? But you lose a season with the team,
Right. Yeah, we lost that season with the team, and that summer, that some of the boys played, but some tournaments canceled because of it.
Right.
So then you try to pick up, and then you get in these B-rate tournaments, and you don't get the experience or the competition level that a normal season would give you. But they're on the field. I don't know. Normally you play 5 or 6 tournaments. I think they played 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So they still lost, 8, 10 games
Right.
in the summer season. But a lot of the kids lost their developmental years there that hurt. I thought last year, because of that, I thought it was going to be way down competition-wise and skill set-wise. But, a lot of teams like North Muskegon, Oak Ridge is good every year. Whitehall, for being really young last year, they were competitive. So I think it affected everybody about the same. But
Right.
It definitely did. Yeah. Across the board.
Obviously. But I think they developed and progressed faster after that.
Right.
Kind of get back to the level they were.
That's a really good point. We talk about this stuff all the time, and not just in baseball or sport analogies, but outside. You kind of, it's funny to watch when something disappears. People step up to the plate, like they find a way to make up that. And I feel like I've seen it with. I can only speak for our kids, but it seems like they've closed the gap quite a bit, a lot faster than. They normally would. You mentioned, our young kids, specifically Stratton and Ryan Christensen, and they've just grown up. They've grown up a ton. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. It's interesting, though.
Well, it's interesting because my wife coaches varsity soccer, and she said the same thing. Like she said, she just would have thought the girls coming up would have been, just missing a year. And she's high on her team this year. She's like, no, and it's a lot of, underclassmen that are coming up, and because they don't have a JV, they're pulling everybody. So it's pretty cool. To see it. It sucks that you lose a season. You just, once you get out of school, you realize how valuable those things are, right? You only get a few of them. So that sucks, but it's good to see the kids bounce back for sure. So
Now, on your schedule, are they doing the Friday Night Lights again at Marshfield? And are you guys involved in that again?
They are doing that, and we are not.
Okay.
No.
They didn't have you back, huh?
We didn't find it. No, we
Couldn't find an opening?
We had a bad showing last year against Reese Puffer, so they didn't want us.
Yeah, right. Horrible. They didn't want you there till midnight, so
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
That's a fun place to play. It's very historic, and right about that time frame too. It's right where the sun is coming down. So third baseman, shortstop, left fielder just has a hard time with that sun in their eyes.
right in their face. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is a cool place to play, though. I mean, I feel like nowadays they do a pretty good job of most kids getting to play there, I would say. But a step up from that, you guys are kind of replacing that with the third, or I don't even know what it's called.
LMCU?
Yeah,
Yeah.
LMCU.
right. Yeah, and that was kind of our step from last year. It was fun to get Reese Puffer at Marsh Field, and then after that game, we talked about going to Fifth Third, or now LMCU ballpark, to play them there, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, their assistant coach, John Johnson, knew Mr. Clint. I think Mike Clint is the guy that kind of heads that up. And Mike Clint is from the Catholic Muskegon area, so they got together and found a date and able to play.
Speaking of fields, what's your favorite field to play around the conference besides Montague?
I think Whitehall.
Yeah.
I think they've got the nicest complex right now in the conference.
The newest, too,
Yeah.
I would say. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Ravenna's pretty new.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like their wind
Heard
is
North
always blowing
Muskegon's
in.
going to redo theirs. That's what Paul was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so it'll be
somebody said that.
interesting.
I think that's in some kind of proposal there.
Yeah.
They're pushing through, which I feel like they should. North Muskegon's, they've had their time there for sure.
Yeah. I think they're redoing a bunch of stuff there, but yeah, maybe we can get you some new dugouts out of this Mon thing.
Well, yeah, anything's appreciated.
Yeah.
We just finally got our new fence
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
Yeah. That looks good.
Yeah, we'll take what you can get,
Absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about field maintenance and just baseball in general, specifically because I can't stand how Brent doesn't think that it's legit.
I think it's legit. Will you give me a copy? I have literally said hitting a baseball is the
just
hardest
teasing.
thing in sports. Just so I clear this up, right? Like,
do you really think that? Do you agree with that statement?
I agree, yes.
yeah. So I just said that statement. I completely agree with that.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
that's just
let me rephrase it. Hitting a baseball, softball. A fast pitch softball is not easy to do either.
Yeah.
yeah. I've heard that you get into. I mean, I've never played like super competitive softball, but I've heard people say that like when that ball gets moving, like it's
It comes out at I mean, I don't know anything about these sports, but it comes out at a different angle too, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I've heard.
Different angle. It's closer. It's 45 feet, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some guys that could throw it 80 miles an hour from that.
Yeah.
distance. I mean,
Man, this makes
It's
me
crazy.
This makes me want to bring back that 80 versus athlete series and have one of the 80s or someone stepping in that batter's box and seeing how easy it is,
Yeah.
or hard it is.
The ball movement. Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's true. We might have to do it.
I'll go hit some off Zach. No problem with that.
Need to try.
This is where this goes, Kevin. This is the logical end of this. All right.
So back to the field maintenance thing. We see a lot of times in the spring sports in general, they get canceled, they're bumped or moved around, and especially with baseball fields because they get wet and sometimes it's hard to play. How much work do you guys put into the field, and how much does that affect kind of what you guys have going on as far as getting out or getting outside as early as you can, and do the kids help out? Is it something that you do? Where does that fall in?
Well, general field cleanup, we kind of have the kids help out. I mean, rake the infield, try to get all the dead grass out of there, get that growing and getting smooth again. But as far as the dirt maintenance and getting the weeds out of the dirt, that's coaches. The school takes care of the leaves around the fences and all that type of stuff. But the basic field and the playing surface is the coaches the majority for us.
That's something that not a lot of other coaches, like you look around other sports, it's not a lot. Like that's unique to baseball and softball, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kara's not out like taking care of the soccer. I mean, she probably would if she had to. But
Yeah.
like You know what I mean? Like that's a little unique.
And that's kind of why I asked him.
It is, and it's a science with the baseball and softball fields.
Yeah.
I mean, the school maintenance team isn't educated at that level.
Right.
That's just a small part of their job. I mean, an extremely small part of their job. So we try to do as much as we can so that the school maintenance can do
Take care of the big stuff, right?
take care of the big stuff. Yeah, but I mean, at Mona Shores too, their grounds crew is actually their coaches.
Yeah, they're fortunate in that regard.
Yeah.
Sure.
Brandon and Andrew Bard. So they put 25 bags of field dry on that field Wednesday night for us to play. Did a tremendous job with that field. And before them, Walt Galkowski, I've heard he was out there on hands and knees every day picking
Yeah.
weeds out of the dirt.
He uses
Is that with
scissors.
a push mower out there?
Yeah, he would too.
Yeah.
He'd get there so early, man. He'd get there.
I'd like to make just all high school coaches, and I mean, whether you're an assistant or a head coach, like the amount of time that you guys put in for the massive amount of pay you get. I'm being facetious, but I mean the stuff that those people do for the athletes and for the kids. I don't know that it often gets recognized enough. You know, picking weeds out of the dirt and giving kids rides, and I mean the list is just like beyond belief. And you know it's not like you're going to get rich off of coaching high school sports. You know, like I just really admire what you guys do for the kids all the way across the board. So.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, I don't think there's a high school coach out there thinking they're going to get
money.
rich doing it.
No.
We're doing it for the money.
You would
so-
never do it for the money.
Yeah.
No.
Nobody would.
Yeah.
It's just giving back and having a good time with your passion. And you know, for me, baseball is a hobby. I've got the MLB TV package, so I can go home and watch games
baseball.
every night and watch any game I want. You know, and it's just our passion. So of course we want to be out on the field and making it ready and playable and hopefully injury free bounces with that baseball. You know,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing.
Don't want anybody taking the chops.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you play with the old guys, with Rick and Winberg and Brad
Berge.
and like Berge and like you get out?
Not anymore. I don't.
Not anymore.
Back in the day, I played with them.
I remember driving up to the VAC and seeing Brad come out of the VAC, and he looked like he was hurting. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm getting ready for the season."
Yeah.
And he explained what they were doing, and like, I mean, it's really cool. But I'm like, I can't even imagine trying to go compete at that level.
Well,
you know, like
Les Gowell, man,
Yeah.
he went at it forever. Right?
did he? I mean, it's just nuts.
I still
you
don't
know?
think he's done.
Yeah.
I think Les is still pitching.
Does
somewhere.
Link play with them too?
Yeah.
Link does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good group of guys. They're like pretty successful at
They're good. Oh no, they're good.
Which is
Yeah,
kinda crazy.
it's crazy, but yeah.
That's just our area, man. There's so many people that just love the game.
Yeah.
Love, you know.
Some of those guys, like Blankstrom, still doesn't he? Don't they go to Arizona or something?
Yeah,
to play?
Blankstrom and Brad and
Yep.
Link and
Yep. Actually, there's a 40 or 50 and over league in Grand Rapids this year that they've gotten into, so they're going to play that once a week.
yeah.
They asked me, but my body can't handle that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
My
don't
knees
blame
are
you.
so bad.
No, it's just the way that it goes. And then lastly, to kind of wrap everything up, talk about some of your goals, your projection for the season, and then your kids, both on the team and your kids in general. What kind of impact baseball's had on them?
Well, the goals for the season, I guess, like I said earlier, we just want to compete every game and have fun doing it. Our goals are always to win conference, win county tournament, win districts, regionals, all the way through the state tournament. So those goals don't really change year to year, but realistically, I think we have a good shot of going a long ways this year. I think we could win conference this year. I think we can win county tournament this year. In which I think they are scheduling that again a little bit differently this year. Last year there was 3 tiers because of COVID, but all the teams were ranked 1 through 12, and I think they're going to do that again, 1 through 12 instead of Division 1, 2, and Division 3, 4 for Tier 1, Tier 2. So I'm hoping we get voted in the Tier 1 group, the 1 through 6, and then compete for a title there. And I think we have the team that can compete and possibly win that county tournament against Reese Puffer, Mona Shores. And then after that, we got a district. North Muskegon's in our district, as is Ravenna, so that's going to be a tough district. They're always competitive, but I think that's winnable for us.
Where's that at this year? Do you know?
Montague.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
That's our first. We're hosting it for the first time that I know of ever.
Wow.
So I know it's the 15 years I've been there. We haven't hosted it. So that'll be fun, playing on a home field.
For sure.
So what was the second part of that question?
Just what kind of impact baseball's had on your life, your family, your kids, your players, the people you care about?
Yeah, and I'm assuming baseball is a lot like football as far as it's like a team brotherhood. You get a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships out of the season off that team, and some of my best friends. Of course, we're all grown, but we talked about Rob Smith earlier. I still stay in contact with him. I played baseball with him at Montague, Muskegon Community College, and then at Aquinas. And some of those Aquinas guys too, like Kurt Heisinger, I see him. I talk to him quite often. Todd Vanden Heuvel, who was at Mona Shore standout, he was at Aquinas. I talk to him when I see him. But you just have lifelong friendships, and guys that you'll never forget. As far as my boys,
yeah, your kids, and just like the common ground within the family, and how Jacob's still playing. You guys, it's still a part of everybody's life, at least to some extent.
Yep. Jacob. I mean, he's still pursuing that dream, and it's fun supporting him and following him around and watching him, and the boys are always asking about him. I think they talk to him once in a while, but they usually ask me and my wife. Zachary had the opportunity to play after high school, and he decided to just do his studies, and he's finishing up at Michigan this year.
Is he really?
Nice.
This is last year.
Yeah. The winter semester, he'll be able to graduate.
What's he going into, Gavin?
He's in the medical or health field. He was going to be an anesthesiologist assistant, and now he thinks he wants to do more of the research type things.
Oh, nice.
Be in a lab and do research things. So
Good for him.
Yeah, he's trying to get a job this summer at U of M to do that, and then see if that's what he wants to pursue. But he can always fall back on the anesthesiologist assistant. But he'll finish up at University of Michigan. Elijah's right now living in Georgia, but he's coming home in a couple months. But he played varsity as a freshman, had a good season, and got diagnosed with narcolepsy, which that has in itself a lot of effects on him with depression and anxiety. And so after his freshman year, he really couldn't play because of those issues. But his senior year, he was really wanting to play, and that was 2020, the COVID year. So
that sucks.
So he wasn't able to play that year, and for his whole class too, with like Johnny Monette, Remington Schneider, Brennan Schwartz, Mark Vanderleest. He had a good group of guys too that year that kind of missed out on it, but had a pretty good season that year too. But Elijah was a good player, and now Aiden, who outside of the 2020 year, he's played varsity 3 years now, and all those guys. When he was a freshman, it was Luke Marsh and Sebastian Archer, Nick Stever. So I mean, he still sees them and still talks to them because of the friendships they made on the baseball team. So it's a big impact, just any sport in general. It doesn't have to be baseball, but any high school sport where you have a team concept and you're there working with those guys for a common goal. You kind of get close to and lifelong friendships.
It's so true how that stuff stems from there. Scott,
I got to squeeze in one more unrelated topic here, and I'm opening a can of worms when I do this. But what do you have to say for the Packers re-signing Aaron Rodgers and then losing their stud receiver right afterwards?
Yeah, I was born in Green Bay, so I'm a big Packer fan. And,
oh my gosh, Kevin!
Well,
you don't want to get punched in the gut every year like us. I mean, like the rest of us normal people.
No, but a lot of people are asking me about Aaron Rodgers and if he's going to sign. What am I going to do? Do I want him back? And it's I'm a Packer fan, so who they put on the field is who I'm going to cheer for and root for and back them. But when you have the opportunity to have the best quarterback, arguably in the history of the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean it's arguable. I mean, there's Tom Brady.
No.
I always say Brett Favre and Bart Starr were the best quarterbacks. I don't know why, but
Oh my gosh. You don't like Montana, huh? He doesn't get in that conversation.
No.
I mean, he's there. He's not at that level yet. He's got the elite.
He's still alive. He's got some time, you know. Like,
What's it like going to a Packers game? I mean, what's that environment like?
It's just electric. I mean, you walk from the concourse up into the main stadium, and you can just feel the electricity.
Who was talking about that?
Billy, I think, wasn't he?
I've been to a Packers. You haven't ever been?
I haven't.
Oh yeah, I've been to Lambeau. I watched the Lions get killed. It was
That happens everywhere.
It was the
though.
game where Nelson went off. It was like a New Year. Like, it was so cold, and it snowed the whole way. It took us like 19 hours to drive back. It was
Wow.
but it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great place to watch a football game. There's no bad seat. There's no poles in the way. There's nothing above you. It's just a line of sights are free everywhere. It's just a blast. I mean, I went to that first game Favre went in against Cincinnati when Magic got hurt, Mikowski. And it's like, who's this guy? I mean, we just traded for him. You know, he's there. It's like, who is this guy? And he brings him back to win, and then he starts, I don't know, for the next 100 years or something.
Yeah,
You know,
Next
fire.
5 years.
Yep. But I went to the Lions playoff game. I think Barry Sanders was held at like -2 yards. You know, that was a fun game to go to.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But being a Packer fan, I mean, you look at Barry Sanders, and when he was done, when his career was over, it's like you look back and, man, that guy was good.
Yeah, he
Walter
was good.
Payton was the same way.
Yeah.
Saw him play and jump over the pile and get into that end zone. And, man, you know, hated him at the time, but, you know, you look back, it's like, man, what an experience to see that guy play.
No kidding. Do you guys go every year? Do you guys go to a game every year?
No, I haven't been to a game in probably 10 years.
Really?
It's expensive to go to an NFL game,
Yeah,
too.
for sure.
I mean,
I heard the game day experience, though, was something else at Lambeau.
It's
just
pretty-
outside, like, with all the establishments and everything out there.
I think I went on the
tailgating
coldest
and all
day in
that.
history.
Yeah.
We were like, I had 50 layers of clothes on. It was so cold and it snowed. It was like the exact Lambeau experience you want, but then you kind of hope you don't get, you know, like it was great. But yeah.
See, when I was growing up, my dad had season tickets through his company, so they had
that's
6.
awesome.
Yeah, they had 6 tickets, and he gives them to his clients or whatever. And you know, if they don't take them all, then he gets to take his family. So I was fortunate enough to go to a few games, and it was fun. It's a great town, great football town.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Green Bay.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's pretty crazy where the stadium's at too. It's like,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
it's
go.
nuts. You need to
Everybody I
go.
talk to says it's like amazing.
You need to go. It's good. It's a good time.
All right.
Just don't go in January like me. Go in like
Yeah.
October.
Wouldn't do that. Wouldn't go in.
Maybe September.
But yeah.
So are you then Brewers and Bucks and all that stuff, too?
Oh yeah,
The
Yep.
whole 9.
Yep, all the Wisconsin teams. I haven't switched. I don't-
Badgers even?
Oh yeah, yep. I was rooting for them against, I don't know who they lose to, Iowa State. That was a bad game for them, but yeah, I cheer them on. Yep.
Yeah.
Got a
It's
little.
unfortunate. I'm just kidding.
Everybody
Hey,
got
I
an
do.
epic team.
You know, I am a
Yeah.
Davenport grad though, so that's
There you go.
so I like that. So
At least you guys can agree on something.
we're there. And Wildcats.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Now.
No, we don't talk about them.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else to add?
No.
Good to
Go Cats.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good year.
Be a good year.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us.
One
Kev.
thing I'd like to add.
Yeah.
Did you pitch against us in 2013?
If you did, you probably won, Kevin.
2013. I actually don't think so because in fact, I remember
He's setting you up, Zach.
No, and I remember this. Watch this. So we played. I can't remember if it was your game that was a rain out or the Ravenna game that was a rain out. But it was back-to-back nights. It was a Wednesday night that we played you guys. So it must have been you guys that was a rain out. And we played at Ravenna on Tuesday. I pitched on Tuesday. Couldn't pitch on Wednesday. And you guys dimed us twice. And that was when it must have been Brandon Stein and Zach Gall hit like 2 bombs. I don't know if it was in separate games or the first game. I can't remember.
I think you went back to back.
But that I played with Jacob then. Jacob was playing then, and
Yep.
that was right when he he was, people were starting to take notice. I think he might have been a sophomore at that time.
Freshman. Yep.
And he was really starting to put the ball in play. You could tell just by how it was coming off his bat, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that year, I think we went 14-0 in conference. I don't know if any school's done that in a long time. And we had 8 guys that made the
Our team did.
He said in a long time, Scott. That was a long time ago.
Well, that was a long.
Depends.
Yeah,
What's your definition of a long time?
You.
I think we did it 91. Mason County Central, I think, did it with Plinus.
Here we go.
Okay.
And obviously you guys did it. Your team, one of your teams did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That was, like I said, we had 8 guys that made first team all conference, and
You guys
that was a good team.
It was a really good squad. And it was cool for me because, at the beginning of this, we talked about me going to both schools. I had so many friends, it was such a cool experience to play. We weren't very good, but it was fun.
So, Kev, how good a pitcher was Zach? Because he talks about it all the time. You've commented on the shifty lefty.
Crafty.
Number one,
Crafty
I
lefty.
don't talk about it.
See, if I remember right, Zach had a decent fastball. I don't think it was overpowering by any means.
Definitely
But
not.
he hit his spots, and he had this big sweeping curveball that really.
I lived and died by that thing.
Yeah.
So when we go out to the field and I got to hit him, I got to look out for that big old curveball.
That's right. It's nasty.
Well, he'll probably just keep throwing you the straight ball. You're not going to hit that.
Yeah.
Hey, man, 2 years of Little League. I was an all-star both years. So,
No, that's funny. That's funny.
Just saying.
just saying. But
When did Jacob graduate? I gotta ask this question real quick.
2016.
16?
Yep.
So he's 16, so he was a freshman. I'm trying to think what my sophomore year. When did you take over? What year did you take over?
That was my first year on varsity. Was 2013.
That's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering. That's crazy. Man, time flies. That's just nuts.
you have no idea, young man. You have no idea.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll just get faster, keep getting faster.
You get really old like these guys.
Well,
Well, look at your dad. He's, 26 years into it?
I'm 28.
Yeah.
28?
Yeah.
Crazy.
There you go.
Yeah, it's nuts. Crazy. A lot of memories. Anyway, good stuff.
So, hey, are we getting out to stream any games this year? Are we going to give it a try?
Yeah, so it's just going to be a trial and error thing.
Yeah.
There's no great way to do it without spending a ridiculous amount of money on
cameras. Yeah, that's
just because of the way the field's set up and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You could definitely do it. I just don't know how much you'd be able to see.
Yeah. So I think we're going to give it a try. We're going to try to get out and do it. It's just a matter of.
Where would we set up the cameras? I'm just curious.
God, I don't know.
I'd love to do it. I think it'd be awesome to do it.
That's the hard part. So the way we do basketball and football, we have one camera that can zoom and it sits up usually, right? And then the rest of them, we just use cell phones, high def cell phones, and we get close. Well, baseball poses some problems because of that. I don't know if you use a 13-foot tripod and you go on both sides of the field over the tops of the dugouts, or I don't think we can get high enough to kind of go over. You put a camera in the field and then you put even outside of the field, you put it in play of getting whacked, right? So you don't want to, I don't know. I'm like, and then you're going to miss balls hit to the outfield. I think infield action is probably the most important, but I don't know, Scott. I think we'd have to go out and scout it out and try to figure it out. And adjust fire, it definitely isn't going to be like the MLB does with cameras built into the backstop and but
it's a tough sport, but I think that it's doable. It just might not be, the same quality level, the same, it's hard to
yeah, but announcers make a big deal too.
True.
I was actually, we streamed the cornhole event this weekend up in Turtle Creek. And that was one of the things I was going to talk to Billy about. Man, announcers would have been good for that final, who's throwing and what's going on. It does make it makes it a lot better. And I think even with baseball, it might be even more important. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Talking about the count and where's everybody at and but
there's a Game Changer app that we used last year that you can also use video. Mm-hmm. And I think it overlays the
scoreboard and the count
right
so
on that video.
The app we used for basketball and football, it actually has a baseball feature on it, and you can actually keep with basketball even you can keep stats. So it means somebody's got to watch it the whole time, but it's pretty cool. It'll I think it puts a little icon up in the so you can see where the runners are and so yeah, we definitely are going to try to do it. It's just that's why we haven't done, and frankly, The only spring sport that really lends itself to easily do that is soccer. I mean, and that's because it's the same view as like football, right? Like you can just get up top and we tried to do a cross and a track event. We've done a track event. We did the All-Star meet and it just took so many people and then you can't get too far away because it's all wireless, right? Yeah. So like once you start trying to get over, we couldn't do any of the field events. We just had to focus on the track. So but we're gonna try to figure it out. So
yeah, definitely.
We'd like to definitely get out.
Yep.
See Zach in all his glory coaching.
That's right, something like that.
But
all right, fellas. Anything
cool.
else to add?
No. Thanks for coming on, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, honestly, yeah, super good time. Also, a special thank you to our sponsors, Van Dyke Mortgage, Shepherd and Shepherd Law, and North Grove Brewers. We really appreciate you guys. Could not do this without you. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.